Half of South Africa's credit-active consumers are over-indebted due to poor financial literacy. I'm Jennifer Sanasi, you're watching News 24 Live. I'm joined in studio by Blake Group's Head of Global Sales, Tracy Swart. She's going to tell us how credit providers can help their consumers be more financially literate. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Now we're speaking about sustainable habits when it comes to debt and credit. My first question is, why are South Africans so in debt?
I think it's become a part of the South African credit society that access to credit has been made more available, and the combination of education running parallel to that access hasn't been maintained at the same pace. So the ability for people to actually get access to credit and sometimes an excess of credit is there without the requisite knowledge of how to manage that credit.
Why has this been allowed to happen, do you think?
I think a lot of these things come out of the legacy of where South Africa's come from, that there was big percentages of the population that weren't able to participate in the formal society, and when that did start to happen, there was kind of probably overcompensation for that, and as a result, I mean, clearly, you know, from a government point of view, politically it was a good thing to have more members of the South African business community participating in credit. But as I say, I don't think that the education relating to that was necessarily running at the same pace. So you've ended up with generations of people now, and we're probably getting into the second and third generation of people who have got access to credit without really necessarily understanding what the implications are.
Yeah. So you're saying that many South Africans who are using credit don't really understand the seriousness that being in debt comes with?
I think they don't understand the long-term implications that once you're in that debt cycle, particularly if you're using debt products to fund a consumer lifestyle, you're buying groceries, you're buying clothing, you're buying items that are not necessarily long-term assets that will add to your wealth. They don't realize that it's very, very difficult to get out of that treadmill of borrowing. So, you know, if you take a payday loan this month, at the end of the month it needs to be paid, you've got that hole in your income again, and you need to fill it. And it's a cycle that's very difficult to remove yourself from.
Do you find that more of the uneducated South Africans end up in this debt cycle, or is it South Africans across the board?
I think it's South Africans across the board. If you look at the statistics, you know, there's just as many upper sort of LSM people from a ratio point of view that are using products like debt counselling to try and remedy the situation, or certainly to try and protect their assets. I think it is broader spread, and that also, you know, there's so many different factors affecting it. It is also the current economic climate that would have that impact.
What are some of the worst things people can do to try and remedy their debt?
Some of the worst things people could do. I think hiding away from it. I think there is definitely a tendency, a sort of a head in the sand, ostrich. If I don't look at it, it'll go away. And I think one of the best things people could do is actually, you know, either approach a professional that can assist with this, and in terms of some sort of mediation process, or them themselves actually approach their creditors, be realistic about the debts that they owe, and sit down and have a managed plan. And that includes things like budgeting, you know, forward financial planning, and really being rigid and wanting to get out of the situation.
Do you think that creditors are motivated to keep their clients uneducated and in the dark about some of these things?
I think that there may have been a window of opportunity for that, but the changes in the legislation that we've seen taken place in the last 5 years, but very much more actively in the last 2 years, are really designed to protect the consumer. So there's a lot more, not only is the legislation being promulgated, but you're actually seeing active regulation of the legislation. I mean, there was the Stellenbosch case yesterday regarding the emolument attachment orders. So you're seeing, you know, government and industry bodies really trying to protect the consumer at all costs. But, you know, from my perspective, there's another side to the coin that would include, you know, actually making sure that there are properly designed education programs that the population has got access to.